Is that not okay? No, I would rather condemn other people outside myself and do what I'm doing. Well, who's to stop you, for goodness sake? Huh? You do that. It will what? It will protect you. You can set up a defense here, can't you? Lay up stores and protect yourself from all the terrible things that are going on around. I don't know how you stand it. I don't know how you stand this place. I don't know how you stand a place where there's incest. That's what I couldn't stand. You asked me to justify it. It's not justifiable. But it's not justifiable in any regard. All you did was pick something you would never justify, okay, and look at that purpose of the conflict. Obviously, there are a lot of things that you would look on as justified that many people would not, isn't this so? Now you're set up in jurisprudence where somehow you're going to have to attempt to equate what is justifiable under what circumstances, and you wonder why there's no justice. You should not judge because why? You cannot. And you say to me, well, I can certainly judge limitedly under the circumstances which I presented, but what's that got to do with the truth? Doesn't that frustrate you? You know what my son says? He's a lawyer. Well, that's okay. That's the best we can do. He says, we'll always do the best we can do under the circumstances, and that's what justice is. I said, you don't know the circumstances. He says, we have precedent. I say, all your precedent is judgment, and it's not so. You keep changing your mind about the precedent all the time. Okay? You keep rewriting history according to the dictates of what you want to be true at this time. Okay? The greatest thing that ever happened to the world was the assassination of Kennedy. And you go, well, that couldn't possibly be true. Why not? No, that couldn't be? Well, yeah, that's true. That's a true statement. It's a good thing that happened, huh? And you say, no, it's a bad thing that happened. If that hadn't happened, now see what you're doing? Will the history of this war be rewritten? It'll be written as soon as it's not expedient with the terms that you're in association with what's happening to you now. That's what you're doing all the time. Why do you have to do that? You're judging your present condition on the past frame of reference, and if it doesn't suit you, you'll make it up differently and change it. Okay? You're your own history. Isn't that funny? But it's not stable. Why? Because it's gone. Can you hear this? If you base your reality on what's gone, you're not here either. At no single moment is the body real, isn't that so? It's always past. Let me see you not be past. See? Everything you think of is always just gone. You can't hold on to it. It's just gone. Yet you're here. So what happens? You just keep getting gone, 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 gone. Death. You take your goneness and project it into the future, and you're literally no thing. In the Course, Jesus teaches this as you cancel yourself out. Both parts of you don't know anything. There's a sentence in there that says you cancel. I don't know if you've read that. It's a real lovely, obscure part of the Course. Yeah, you're canceled out. Both the thinker and the object and the subject are not real. Well, what can I do about that? How the hell do I know? Are you satisfied with the condition that you're operating under? You say, well, I think it's going to be all right. How? How's it going to be okay? Well, there's better things coming. There's some lovely Course where Jesus looks at that. He says, why? Is there a price for better things? Huh? You say, yeah. Oh yeah, you have to pay the price in order to have better things, don't you? How else will you know they're better? How are you going to know you're happy if you're not unhappy sometimes? Isn't that funny? How are you going to identify it? Where's the problem? You're dealing from lack. You have a fundamental insecurity of limitation. That's why you can never be whole. Anything that needs anything is not real. If cause and effect are not apart. So it bases its reality on need. It cannot be so. It'll just provide for its scarcity. It can never find completion. Okay, because need is the denial of wholeness. I don't know where you're hearing this, but that's fact. You need nothing. You operate on the presumption that necessity is the mother of invention, and indeed it is, but nothing is necessary. Inventiveness is always an attempt to form a limited relationship and deny your own creator. Nice lesson, huh? Do you want to keep the idea of that relationship, of that happening? Okay, this war and this incest he spoke of, and your daughter getting killed at the senior prom by a drunk. Awful. Awful. You say, well, I'm just going to have to cope with it. Why? Answer me, somebody. You don't really realize what I'm offering you. Why do you have to cope with the idea that your daughter got killed at the senior prom? Do you wish that somebody else's daughter would have got killed at the senior prom so that yours had been alive because she hadn't got in the car and I told her not to? You wonder why you're guilty? How could you not be guilty? What do I want you to do? I want you to be totally guilty. The only way that you can come to atonement is by the admission of all of this being in association with you. You can't do it any other way. Isn't that okay? Huh? If reality is reality, the observation of it must be false. Okay, you remember this. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm trying to give you things, but you're determined not to take them. By your perception, you subtract yourself from paradise. That's a fact. It's not open to discussion. How could you have a question? The question is that God is real and your association with Him is not. He doesn't need your identification to be what He is. Do you see? Your demands for justification in your own perceptual reality are totally meaningless. They mean nothing. There is no such thing as time. Okay? If you think there is, why not take the moment that there is to see that there's not? How many associations in your definition are ready to hear this message? How the hell do I know? The requirement is that you do, so you stop attacking the reality. Have you been attacking the reality? Certainly. You don't like to read this in the Course. What do you do when you read in the Courses? You're attacking God because you're afraid of Him. Isn't that funny? Yet your mind is whole, isn't it? What do you do when you're inside yourself? Okay, I used to do this all the time. What do you do? Just talk to yourself about this? How do you find a solution to it? I'm curious. This consciousness is finding a solution. He's going to hold on to it some way, but there's really no justification for it finally, is there? What would it be? Why would there be death and sickness? Help me. Why? Is it necessary in order to what? I can't get what it is you're trying to do. Do you want to prove that death is real to me? How do you obliviate yourself? You're in an impossible situation. And you say, well, I'd rather have this than the alternative. This is a lovely course now. Why? Well, why would the alternative be bad? You say, well, at least I have this. You can't take this away from me. This is actually what you do, isn't it? You hold on, and Jesus says in the Course, you hold on to this little piece rather than just saying I'm everything. Because everything is a threat to you. That's the way it is. How can you get out of it? That's an impossible dilemma. You'd rather have this than nothing because you think God is nothing, right? So you die to prove you're right, but you can't die. What's the solution? You have to use up all your avenues of attempt to escape God. You won't do it any other way. He can sit there forever and keep demanding recognition for what he is, and it's not real. I'm not quarreling with him, I'm just telling you it's not real. It has nothing to do with good or bad. It has nothing to do with incest and murder and rape. Listen, it has nothing to do with that. You already are killing the things you love. What difference does it make how you kill them if you kill them? Is this the way Jesus says you identify murder with love? Yeah. Does this mean that what isn't love is murder? Yeah. Because murder is death. Death is self-murder. If you kill your brother, you're what? Killing yourself, aren't you? Killing the part about you that you don't like, you try to save your part of the stuff you do, and you die anyway. Okay? The reason that I make this an imperative is it's exactly what you don't want to look at. Is this lovely consciousness provided for you to take a look at this? Sure. Why? Because this is the same thing you're thinking in your own mind. Is that different than what your mind thinks? Of course not. You're a human being. And you've set up a value system within you. And when I tell you you're under no laws but God's, you positively reject it. It's turning into a tough talk, but I don't care. Finally, you're going to have to look at your causing your own dilemma. If you won't do that, if you're going to keep blaming something outside the self for your problem, there's no sense in coming to me. You're a liar, and you've been a liar from the beginning, but you're not real. You do this but to yourself. Now, if you can look at it as just a little occurrence, which it is, just a little happening in a limited framework, you won't have any problem with this. I'm going to try this with you. No one knows about this but you. No one knows about this but you. This is just your own turning within yourself. Okay? You're in a dream. This never happened. That ought to eliminate the questions about the incest. If it doesn't, don't come to me. See, I'm giving you now the fact of the matter. If you're determined that this is so, there's no sense in coming to me. There's no sense in doing the Course in Miracles. That'd be senseless. The whole Course, all I'm giving you is what Jesus said, out of body. He tells you that you're not a body, that you've constructed this in your own mind, and that you're what? You're the dreamer of the dream. Why isn't that okay? I always knew I was dreaming here. Somewhere within me, I always knew that this was a dream. Okay? Is this a dream now going on? Huh? Well, what are we going to do in our dream then? Should we talk about grievances and all the terrible things that have happened in our dream? You tell me that things that happened to you, and I'll tell you the things that happened to me. But we're really not communicating. Not really. Okay, evil cannot be shared, Jesus would say. Separation really can't be shared because it's based on not knowing. You see? We can only approximate it and utilize symbols to represent it. Like I'm doing now. Do you see what I'm doing? Would it be better if I didn't speak at all? I don't know. I have to use this devious method because you have constructed this devious method not to know the truth. That's a nice sentence in the Course. Remember where it says that? You speak in these weird tongues in order to keep yourself from seeing the truth. Then you share that limitation as long as you don't have to do a confrontation with your own reality. Then you share the guilt of the terrible things that you and I did together. But it's not real. Okay? Am I telling you what you don't want to hear? Of course. This is the only thing you've never wanted to hear, that you're perfect. Why? If you're perfect, what would be the sense in this? So, you told me to come here in this time and tell you that you're perfect. And to tell you that you're waiting for yourself later on. Is that true? It would have to be true. Otherwise, what is it you're looking for? See, it would be impossible for you to be searching for heaven without having found it. Wouldn't that be true? Well, I'm here to remind you that you found it. And you'll say to me, well, how did I get back here where I don't remember finding it?